Well, this recipe is so easy from the Beginner's Guide to Canning, old-fashioned tomato jam. I'm kind of tripling it. So I've got close to 24 cups of green tomatoes. I'm gonna do about maybe 6 cups of honey. Then I'm gonna do some cinnamon, some ground cloves, and 2 to 3 lemons. This recipe uses the entire lemon. The other recipe, because you're not using the peel of the lemon, the rind, uses pectin. Because there's no added pectin in this, you are using the rind. So you're slicing the lemons, taking out the seeds, and you're boiling those with the tomatoes. And that's what thickens it up. We discovered this green tomato jam a couple of years ago when I had a ton of green tomatoes and I was making a lot of chutney, and I kind of thought there's got to be something else out there. And I stumbled on this green tomato jam and I thought, okay, this could either be really awful or really wonderful. So I gave it a go, and it has become one of our absolute favorite condiments that we have. And it tastes, I mean, you wouldn't really know it's tomato. It's not like you're going to identify the taste as being a tomato taste. It really does become just like a, to me it's the equivalent of like an onion jam, where you know you're not, you know, eating berries, you know you're eating onions. So on things like cornbread, it's delicious. We kind of pop it in all sorts of things. A grilled cheese, green tomato jam on a grilled cheese is honestly one of the best things you'll ever eat. You can also just put this green tomato jam in a sandwich that you're having, and it adds that like sweet kick. I love sweet and savory together. If you don't love sweet and savory together, then obviously that would not be the way to go. Dave and I love jam in our grilled cheese. Sort of like a Cuban kind of sandwich. All right, so I'm pulling all the seeds out. There's quite a few, and I have a cut on my thumb. So it's actually not that pleasant of a job that I'm doing right now. It hurts. Ow, ow, ow. All right, a lot more seeds than I thought, but we want to make sure to get those out. We don't want to bite into a seed. Not a good day to be doing lemons. You have a cut on your finger. All right, I think I got all of them. All right, I'm gonna get these in the pot. Got one more to chop up, and then other than that, it's just the honey and the cinnamon and cloves. Now, I don't know what this is going to be like having the rind in the jam, because as I mentioned, I used pectin before. So my guess is that it'll just, you can either pull it out, or that you might actually enjoy munching it once it's all sweet and jammy, but I don't know. So that will be an interesting thing to figure out. I'm gonna be kind of bummed if I leave any seeds in there. Sometimes these seeds are so tricky, you can't quite see them hiding. All right, I think I got those. So some fruit, you know, makes its own pectin. So when you use a lemon, the rind from the lemon is creating the pectin. A lot of fruits just naturally make it on their own, and other things don't. So a tomato obviously is not going to, and that's why we're taking the help of the lemon. I much prefer a recipe that I don't have to use a pectin. I'd rather not add anything else into my food if I don't have to. And so I'm hoping that we enjoy this just as much as we enjoyed the last one. We'll just get these all, oops, there's a seed, there's a seed. So I just found 2 more seeds. I'm feeling like I did a really bad job on the seeds. Shoot, just found another one. Just found 3. How did I miss those? Bummer. Guess it is what it is. Here's another one. I guess when I do this last lemon, I better go through every piece, like hold it and squish it in my hand. In the end, it's probably not the end of the world. All right, so you can see some of those tomatoes have already been cooked down. That was when I was waiting for the pectin to come and cooked those down a little bit, so you can see the color difference right now between the fresh ones. So I'm gonna go get my 3rd lemon. It's upstairs. This bit of clove. We don't want to make this like super clovey. And yes, you can use a measuring spoon for sure. Tiny bit of clove. And then some recipes I've seen add vanilla as well. I don't think I've ever added vanilla, but I like the idea of it. So this honey was on sale. It is not raw honey because I don't see any point in using raw honey in a recipe where you're going to cook it. So this was just a good quality honey, a clover honey. I got about 3 cups out of here. So if I want to add more, I'm going to have to add sugar, which I don't mind doing, but I wanted to keep it mostly honey. So I'm going to let this cook down for a little bit and then decide what I want to come back and add for the sweetener. Really, this is your decision on how much sweetener to use. You absolutely don't have to use as much sweetener as it says. You're going to have like a candy basically if you use 5 cups of sugar to every 8 cups of tomato. And we like jam, but we don't need a candy. Jam does not have to be sickly sweet. I'd be thrilled actually if 3 cups of honey did the trick, so we'll see. And I'm going to stay close by because I do not want this to burn. And I'm going to check for seeds. I already found a couple more. I don't know how I let that happen. I'm feeling pretty confident I got most of them now. All right. Lemon and honey. So good. A boil for about 20 minutes, and I'm staying close by as I had mentioned. I did taste it and I ended up adding some sugar. And I think that was a good decision because it still tasted very much like the sourness. You could still kind of get that. And then all of the lemon seeds that I missed have been just floating to the top, so it's been perfect. I've just pulled those out as I've seen them, which they just keep appearing. So this is going to make a nice, it's kind of getting syrupy now. And then after it boils for about 25 minutes, I'll turn it down and I'll simmer it for about half an hour. I just finished up the first batch. It's in the canner. I just turned it off at a 20-minute boil time. This is what the jam looks like. You can see it thickened up quite a bit. I've got 7 half pints in here, and I'm guessing I can probably do another 7. Now I have no idea if this is gonna work as well as the Pectin jam did. I suspect it's not. I suspect it's not going to have quite the same firmness because when you add something like Pamona's Pectin in, you get a really firm product. We are going to make my favorite jam, which is called holiday jam or Christmas jam. It's cranberries and strawberries, so we pick strawberries in the spring and we put them in the freezer and we wait for cranberries to come out in October, November, and then we make this jam. It is out of this world, and that is Pamona's Pectin. So I'm glad it's on the way. I'm glad it'll be here for when we need to make those other recipes. For now, you know what? The worst that this can be is just a little bit runnier, which, no big deal. I forgot to tell you one of my favorite things to use this for, other than grilled cheese and cornbread: meatloaf. On the top of meatloaf, you could also do some hot sauce and this tomato jam. Oh my goodness, so good. Especially if you do like a little bit of pork in your meatloaf. Oh my goodness, delicious. It's just a great jam to have on hand, and it makes use of all those green tomatoes, which is so wonderful. Top off, we let it sit for 5 minutes so that you don't get any siphoning, which is when the food starts to come up through the jar and then you lose a lot of liquid and it's just not as pretty. So, and you have a big mess to clean up. You have to like scrub your jars. So this way, all of that is taken care of. The temperature goes down slowly. Then when you pull your jar out, it's not such a big thing. Well, I was editing the video in bed last night and I realized I didn't end the video. And I think it's because I was waiting for the tomato jam to firm up and be able to test it. So I made a quesadilla this morning, a little gluten-free quesadilla. This is almond flour tortillas. Put a little tomato jam, a little dairy-free cheese, which certainly don't recommend if you can eat dairy, and it's delicious. I might even think I like it better. I don't know. That lemon, adding that lemon did something, the lemon rind. I actually like it not quite as thick. The other one was really, really thick. This one has a much thinner consistency. I don't usually eat so early in the morning. I'm waking up at like 5 a.m. Just like can't go back to sleep. So I have my coffee. But that's a good treat with coffee. That's a really good combo. Dave's gonna love that. All right, so that's the tomato jam from Beginner's Guide to Canning. It is absolutely delicious. So I ended up with 1 pint, 13 half pints, and a little bit extra that I put in the fridge that I just made the quesadilla with. I ended up doing the pint because I only had room for 1 more jar in the canner, and I didn't want to do a whole round just for a half pint. So I went ahead and put it in a pint. And, you know, something like this I probably wouldn't open unless we had company, or this one just gets tucked back, where I put a few things that I just want to make sure that we have if we ever had guests over, that, you know, are special foods that maybe even I want to gift. So that's what this guy is. So like I said, this is a really good book. I love the recipes in it. I haven't delved too far into it because a lot of the things I'm going to make in the winter once this harvest season completes. All right, so that is the early morning ending to the video. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you.